Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 70. Links. In the small street-side shop, Zhi Xiaoduo was completely irritable and was still trying to contact Xiang Cheng. However, Xian Hezi had received a call from Kita's phone. It was Duan Shixing on the line. "What the hell are you guys doing?" Duan Shixing said angrily, "Where is he? Where did you put him after saving him?" Even the nearby Zhi Xiaoduo heard Duan Shixing's roar. Xian Hezi quickly said apologetically, "He's here with me." Zhi Xiaodu said he was hungry and wanted instant noodles. "Will be over soon." Duan Shixing was quiet for a while, then whispered to Kita, "He says that he's there with him, so who did we see just now?" There was a terrible silence on both sides. Zhi Xiaoduo suddenly thought of the only possibility. "Let me talk." Zhi Xiaoduo took over the phone and said, "Where's Kita?" "Hurt by your man." Duan Shixing said, "One of his ribs is broken, we just wrapped it." In the severe March winter, Kita was sweating all over, and his face had even swelled up. He answered the phone and said, "Xiaoduo? Are you Xiaoduo?" Zhi Xiaoduo's breath stopped, and Kita said, "That guy just now was the nine-tailed celestial fox, right?" "Should be. Don't let Duan danger out of your sight." "Where are you guys?" Zhi Xiaoduo said, "We'll go there right away." Zhi Xiaoduo hung up the phone and got on Xian Hezi's motorcycle. At 4:30, they rushed to the hotel where Kita was. "He was the nine-tailed celestial fox. He has transformed into me, but Xiang Cheng should be able to recognize him. What will happen next? Will he catch Hu Ziniang and force him to hand over his magic weapons?" Zhi Xiaoduo had originally wanted to follow Lang Dog, but it seemed that this plan had to be temporarily cancelled. He didn't know where Si Gui had gone again. Hu Ziniang had to be completely eliminated, otherwise he would run circles around them all, making fools out of them. Maybe even Chen Zhen's side would be affected. But how were they going to kill him? They just needed one chance, one single time where they could break its power of illusion and make its spirit unstable, then they could restrain it. "Xian Hezi," Zhi Xiaoduo said, "do you know anything about mental attacks?" "What?" Xian Hezi turned his head back and said, "I don't know. My Shifu taught me the power of nature." Zhi Xiaoduo frowned and said, "How can we restrain the nine-tailed fox?" "Just grab it." Xian Hezi said, "If you can catch it, then things will be easy." "That's impossible." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "This is where you guys have underestimated the enemy. Everyone thinks that it has no martial abilities, and even I can fight it to a draw physically, but its mental attack is too strong. We must break into his heart first. That's not my area of expertise." Xian Hezi said, "Maybe you should ask Director Chen." Zhi Xiaoduo was quiet for a moment. Suddenly, he vaguely grasped an idea. Xian Hezi's motorcycle tilted and passed a corner. It must have a weak point. Its loneliness was one of its mental weaknesses, but this weak point couldn't be used. Besides loneliness, what else was there? Rage, greed, jealousy, fear, could all shake a person's heart. Fear. What could cause it fear? Zhi Xiaoduo didn't believe that it was invincible. In this world, no matter how powerful a creature was, it must have something that it fears. "What is a fox's natural enemy?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked. "I don't know," Xian Hezi replied, "I didn't get much schooling." Zhi Xiaoduo was silent for a moment, and right then, Zhou Wanyuan's phone call came. She had obviously just woken up and was enraged, saying, "How can you guys have this much trouble? I have to go to Kaifeng in the dead of winter to support you guys." "Wanyuan," Zhi Xiaoduo said, "do you know what a fox's natural enemy is? Is it a lynx?" Zhou Wanyuan was silent for a moment as she thought for a bit and then said, "Sounds about right. Why? Do you have lynxes there?" Zhi Xiaoduo asked, I know Luoyang definitely has some. Any that have become Yao would be best. In the middle of the night, in the middle of winter, during the 12th lunar month, where do you want me to go to find a lynx that has turned into a Yao? Zhou Wanyuan suddenly yelled, have you not played around enough yet? Then what about the fur or teeth? Zhi Ziaduo said, humbly requesting this of you. Kaifeng might have that. Xian Hezi heard what he said and turned his head to tell him. Right then, the phone rang. Chen Zhen said on the phone, we are establishing a temporary headquarters right now. Beijing is taking over leadership from Kita. Xian Hezi, immediately head over to Gagantorura Kita. Chao Ben is currently rushing over to support you guys. Your second task is to capture Xiang Cheng, no matter what he does. Xian Hezi replied, mission received. The motorcycle turned again, and Zhi Ziaduo hung up his call with Zhou Wanyuan and asked, who was calling? It's okay. Xian Hezi said, it was Chen Zhen. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Xiang Cheng held Zhi Ziaduo's hand, and they entered the bathhouse. When they got to the back door, Xiang Cheng glanced outside. Zhi Ziaduo panted for breath as he looked up at Xiang Cheng, his eyes full of tears. Xiang Cheng said, didn't I tell you not to follow me? Zhi Ziaduo said, they were already keeping watch on you, so how could I not come? Xiang Cheng couldn't help but let go of Zhi Ziaduo's hand and pull him into his arms. Standing under the warm lights, Xiang Cheng held Zhi Ziaduo's left hand and pressed his thumb into the base of his ring finger. Go back, ba. Zhi Ziaduo said. No. Xiang Cheng let go of Zhi Ziaduo and said, I must find my family heirloom. Is that thing so important to you? Zhi Ziaduo replied. Xiang Cheng didn't speak. He looked out of the window, and their faces were reflected in the window glass. Yes. Xiang Cheng replied. More important than me? Zhi Ziaduo then asked. Xiang Cheng glanced at Zhi Ziaduo and said nothing. Do you know why I am so persistent in finding all the magic weapons? Xiang Cheng asked in a low voice and touched Zhi Ziaduo's head. His thumb stroked at the hair on his forehead. He lowered his head, his breath intermingling with Zhi Ziaduo's. Zhi Ziaduo turned his head away, unwilling to kiss him and said, I don't want to know. Suddenly, the translucent form of the boss snake appeared in Xiang Cheng's body and let out a soft hiss. Zhi Ziaduo suddenly turned around and tried to retreat, but the Yao Hun of the nine-tailed fox appeared. At that moment, the boss snake opened its mouth and embedded its fangs into the neck of the nine-tailed fox. Zhi Ziaduo screamed, and Xiang Cheng gripped his throat tightly and lifted his entire body into the air. His eyes grew red, and he said coldly, this is the biggest mistake that you have ever made. Now, give me my things. For the sake of your friendship with my mother, I'll spare your life. Zhi Ziaduo's face melted into Hu Ziniang's face. Inside, the huge snake Hun wrapped its tail around the body of the nine-tailed fox and tightly strangled its neck. I was waiting for this exact moment. Hu Ziniang's voice rang out, then he opened his mouth and spat out black fire. Behind Hu Ziniang, the fox Hun's eyes opened wide. It grew to a giant size, letting out a bright light. Xiang Cheng was shocked and tried to get rid of the entanglement between the Yao Hun, but Hu Ziniang had a deathly tight grip. Around the boss snake's heart, a glowing black light kept pulsing continuously. That was the primordial seed of Mara that had been planted in his body so many years ago. The seed of Mara was like another heart, letting out a pulsating sound. With wave after wave of the fox Yao agitating it, it started to pulse faster and faster, causing the boss snake's whole body to be covered in purple-black veins. Avenge Mama. Kill him. You are a Yao. Don't go easy on them. There will be endless calamity in the future. Scene by scene, endless mental shock coursed through Xiang Cheng's mind. Xiang Cheng let out a painful yell, and the balance of power tipped towards Hu Ziniang. Activating your holy seed is really exhausting Lao Zi's housekeeping skills, Hu Ziniang sneered. Resurrect Ba. Ba Snake. Xiang Cheng's face was covered in marks of the devil, and by his ear, his mother's hiss sounded. Ah! The frenzy of power was like an uncontrollable hurricane. Hu Ziniang took away his mind control, leaving only the power of the seed of Mara to spread inside and outside of Xiang Cheng's entire body. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Let's stop here, Ba. Xian Hezi slammed open a window, and immediately the entire back corridor of the bathhouse was blown to smithereens. Hu Ziniang let out a cold laugh and slipped away. Xian Hezi and Zhi Ziaduo rushed in while Hu Ziniang turned around and ran away. Xiang Cheng slammed into the wall of the corridor, blood pouring from his head. Zhi Ziaduo wanted to rush up but was dragged away by Xian Hezi. Xiang Cheng's whole body was covered in black flame, and he started attacking Xian Hezi. Duan Shixing broke open a second window and rushed in. Xiang Cheng's whole body blazed with black fire, and a huge snake rushed out of his body and hissed at them. Ignoring Zhi Ziaduo, he rushed at Xian Hezi. The scene was chaotic. Zhi Ziaduo staggered to his feet but managed to throw out a handcuff and caught Hu Ziniang's ankle. Hu Ziniang tripped and fell flat on his face. Zhi Ziaduo rushed out from behind and grabbed him by the neck, his dragon pupil shining green. "You bastard!" Zhi Ziaduo said, gnashing his teeth. A strange smile appeared across Hu Ziniang's face. "Also, here's the last part of our introductions." Hu Ziniang stretched out a hand to touch Zhi Ziaduo's face. Then he smiled and said, "You will be able to see your defeat with your own eyes. Guess how it would go." Suddenly, there was a loud noise behind him. Xiang Cheng took back the boss snake, recovered his calm, and turned his head. Zhi Ziaduo felt something, so he turned his head, and the two of them looked at each other. Xian Hezi and Duan Shixing rushed forward from the left and right. Xiang Cheng punched Duan Shixing in the stomach, and Duan Shixing immediately fell to the ground. Then Xiang Cheng escaped through the broken window, and Xian Hezi unsheathed his two tang swords and chased after him into the snow. Zhi Ziaduo returned to his senses and was pushed away by Hu Ziniang. Hu Ziniang turned around and ran away. Zhi Ziaduo propped Duan Shixing up on his shoulder and struggled to lift him up. Kita also ran up to him. You. I'm the real one." Zhi Ziaduo yelled. "That guy ran off. You watch Duan Shixing." Zhi Ziaduo climbed out of the window. Xian Hezi had already tracked Xiang Cheng all the way and had disappeared from sight. "We must catch the nine-tailed fox first. As long as we catch it, everything will be resolved." Zhi Ziaduo subconsciously turned around and prayed that Xiang Cheng must hold on and must not be caught by Xian Hezi. Although he didn't know what had just happened, getting hold of Hu Ziniang was the key to solving all the problems. With a screech, Si Gui flew over to Zhi Ziaduo. Zhi Ziaduo followed Si Gui towards the east. There were no street lights in the old urban area of Kaifeng. Hu Ziniang turned into a white fox and ran rapidly through the snow. The sun rose, and Zhi Ziaduo still relentlessly pursued. He ran across the whole block with the guidance of Si Gui and ran into an area of dilapidated houses. Before he knew it, he was close to Longting Lake. Outside Qingming River Park, 4 blocks away, there were countless old buildings waiting to be demolished. "Where's Xian Hezi?" Zhi Ziaduo, wearing earphones, was out of breath from running and shouted, "I've caught up with the fox Yao. Have him come help me right away. I don't know where he went." Kita said, "Your man was so cruel that he almost killed old Duan." "I'll come right away." Zhi Ziaduo put his hand in his backpack and held the hourglass tightly. When he saw that he was about to catch up with Hu Ziniang, a roar came from the side, and a skinny black giant dog rushed out. "Not good." Zhi Ziaduo skidded away, turned around and ran away. "Shit. Go after him for me." The nine-tailed fox transformed into a human, gasped heavily, turned around and roared. Lang Dog chased after Zhi Ziaduo and rushed towards him. At the critical moment, Zhi Xiaoduo unleashed his body's full potential and dashed along frantically, zigzagging left and right through the road, before rushing into an alley. Lang Dog roared up on the roof and rushed past, sending tiles flying everywhere. Zhi Xiaoduo dashed out into the square in front of Longting Lake. A group of aunties had gotten up early to dance the square dance, and the music was thunderingly loud. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately stopped in the square dance team, found a place, pulled up his hood, and started to dance left and right with the music. Lang Dog came hurtling out of the alley and was dazzled by the sun. There were so many people that it couldn't find Zhi Xiaoduo at first. The music of Phoenix Legend was playing so loudly and noisily, which annoyed and perplexed it. Ah! A little girl shouted, "Mom! Mom! Doggy! Big doggy!" Lang Dog hurriedly hid in the alley to avoid being discovered. A moment later, he turned into a man and ran out again. Zhi Xiaoduo had mingled with the huge square dancing group and dialed Kita's cell phone. "Where are the reinforcements?" Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I'm going to give you guys a 0 on your scores." "What are you saying?" Kita yelled, "The music is too noisy." "What is that?" Zhi Xiaoduo looked back and saw that Lang Dog was still persistently running around looking for him. The Baizai shop on the roadside had opened, and Lang Dog was drawn over by the aroma and fixedly stared at the steamer. His left hand wanted to take one, but his right hand held his left hand down as he tried hard to control himself. "What are you doing?" The boss of the Baizai shop discovered this strange person. Roar Lang Dog bared his teeth at him. Zhi Xiaoduo had another incoming call, and he immediately hung up on Kita. It was a familiar voice, but he couldn't remember who it was. The background was noisy, and they asked, "Zhi Xiaoduo, where are you?" "Outside Longting Lake." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Who are you? Where are you?" After the ants finished dancing to a song, Zhi Xiaoduo ran out of the square from the other direction, stood under the tree, and panted for breath, all his internal organs roiling together like the sea. A hand stretched out from behind his back, covering his mouth and dragging him to the back of the room. Zhi Xiaoduo was about to throw the person over his shoulder when the other side said, "It's me." That was Chao Bin's voice. Zhi Xiaoduo stepped back and glanced at him with his dragon pupil before letting out a breath. "Thank God, it's the real Chao Bin." "Follow me." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Where's Xian Hezi?" He ran after Xiang Cheng and lost him. Chao Bin replied. Xiang Cheng climbed over a wall and gasped for breath behind a building. He couldn't help closing his eyes and then opening them again. His mind was full of resentment, heart devils, and pain. Outside the building, separated by a wall, the voice of a tour guide traveled over to them. This is based on a 1:1 scale of the Qingming River map from the northern Song dynasty. Most of the ancient buildings in Kaifeng have been buried underground because of the change in the Yellow River's path. In fact, the only ancient relic that exists is one iron tower. Xiang Cheng grabbed a fistful of snow and shoved it into his mouth. His ears were buzzing. "I don't know." Xian Hezi, wearing earphones, said. He ran into the Qingming River gardens and disappeared. "Where's that phoenix? Isn't it supposed to watch him? Why is the phoenix gone as well? Come, come, come." The security guard said to Xian Hezi, who was looking for people everywhere, "What are you doing? Show me your ticket." "Xian Hezi, I'm a national security personnel." "Where's your badge?" The security guard asked. "Take it out and let me see." Xian Hezi turned and ran away. The security guard immediately said, "Catch him." Xian Hezi shouted in his earphone, "Director. They tried to check my ticket." Xiang Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, put one hand on the wall, and slowly stood up. Si Gui hovered in the sky, and Zhi Xiaoduo and Chao Bin hid in an alley and looked out. "Chao Bin, do me a favor." "Say it, ba." Chao Bin said. "The item must not be on Hu Xiniang's person." Zhi Xiaoduo said, my guess is that they still have a stronghold. I saw Wang Lei, and I think there are probably other accomplices. I have tracked down Wang Lei. Chao Bin said, the organization is mobilizing all the exorcists in the Central Plains to come here and prepare to kill him today. Okay. Zhi Xiaoduo said, then let's ignore Wang Lei, he's the organization's business. I want to find Hu Ziniang and his stronghold and get something. What? Chao Bin asked. Zhi Xiaoduo hesitated for a moment. You are not an exorcist. Zhi Xiaoduo said, can you help me keep this secret? Chao Bin replied, okay, say it ba. Chao Bin looked at Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo even felt grateful. Xiang Cheng's 2 magical family heirlooms, Zhi Xiaoduo said, I don't know why he's looking so persistently for the Great Sun Will and the Moon Eclipse Bao, but since he's risking his life for them and is pretty much treating the treasures as more important than me, he must have his reasons. The Fuyao holds him under control this entire time, so we must get rid of the Fuyao as soon as possible. Chao Bin said, there's still 4 hours. At noon, when the Yang Qi is at its heaviest, Kaifeng is going to use the scorching sun array to capture the Yao. We'd better move fast. Give me some money, I'll go now. Zhi Xiaoduo again glanced at Lang Dog wandering around outside. Lang Dog kept walking around there, probably because if he couldn't capture Zhi Xiaoduo, he didn't dare run into anyone else. Zhi Xiaoduo bought some crab roe and fresh meat soup buns from the Huangjia Baizai shop, and he stood at the side of the road to break open one of them. Lang Dog immediately noticed him and rushed over. Zhi Xiaoduo picked up a bun with his chopsticks and threw it at Lang Dog. Lang Dog leapt into the air and bit into. The soup inside was scorching hot, and the bun fell into the snow. In distress, Lang Dog picked it back up and ate it. Do you want another one? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Lang Dog stared fixedly at Zhi Xiaoduo's bun. Zhi Xiaoduo fed him another bun and said, be careful, it's hot. Lang Dog wanted to eat but also hesitated. The Tiangu fought around against his enemy, but in the end, his instincts for food overrode his inner conflict, and he obediently ate Zhi Xiaoduo's dumpling. I'm Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo shook hands with him. Lang Dog put his hand down then reached out. Zhi Xiaoduo, roll over. Chao Bin. Zhi Xiaoduo was a bit nervous, however, Lang Dog just looked stubbornly at the bag of buns in Zhi Xiaoduo's hands. Zhi Xiaoduo waited a while, thinking, maybe we can't tame him. Oh well, on to business then. He then gave all the buns in the bag to Lang Dog to eat. Lang Dog burped, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, you're supposed to capture me, right? Then lead the way ba. Lang Dog walked ahead, occasionally glancing back worriedly to check on Zhi Xiaoduo. He didn't say anything, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, say something ah. Lang Dog's eyes revealed something strange. Zhi Xiaoduo had seen this look in stray dogs before. Before in Guangzhou, whenever he ran into some stray dogs at the side of the street, he would buy some mantou and bread to feed them. It was a pitiful and anxious look, as if he wanted to defect over towards him, but at the same time had been hurt too much by humans, so he didn't dare to come over. Zhi Xiaoduo understood that if he wasn't talking, there must be a great battle going on in his heart. Chao Bin should be following behind him right now. When would he act? He couldn't let the nine-tailed fox control Chao Bin. Lang Dog took him to an alley not far from Longting Lake, and there was a standalone 3-story building in the alley. As Zhi Xiaoduo was about to answer, Lang Dog actually said, leave ba. Leave quickly. At that moment, Zhi Xiaoduo felt very moved. Go. Lang Dog kicked Zhi Xiaoduo away. Chao Bin was on the phone with his headset, halfway through a report, when suddenly his expression changed, and he rushed out. Zhi Xiaoduo had fallen into the snow and hurriedly waved his hands, motioning for him to not come out yet. Lang Dog didn't say anything and instead rushed into the small building. Zhi Xiaoduo struggled up, thinking that kick was too fierce, when suddenly, Hu Ziniang's voice came from inside the building. "Where is he? You trash." Following that was the sound of Lang Dog whimpering. Hu Ziniang came out carrying Lang Dog, hitting him on the neck with a stick. Lang Dog kept struggling, tumbling then getting up. Hu Ziniang ran over, slapping the back of its neck hard. Zhi Ziaduo was startled at this sight, then motioned at Chao Ben, telling him to wait until he himself acted. Lang Dog had been beaten until he returned to his original form, its 4 dog legs swaying, staggering a few steps before falling by the trash can. Hu Ziniang stood there for a while, before Dinghai walked out from behind him, and the color of Zhi Ziaduo's face immediately changed. "Get ready for action, Ba. There's 3 hours left," Dinghai said. "Xiang Cheng already can't escape, the key is finding that Zhi Ziaduo." Hu Ziniang said coldly, "Go find him. After you find him, dig out his eyes and give them to me. Keep him alive, I can still use him." Dinghai let out an N and left the building. Chao Ben was immediately very angry and wanted to go out and fight Dinghai. Zhi Ziaduo tried to signal that it was essential for Chao Ben to calm down, and finally, Chao Ben managed to get himself under control. "I can't let anyone face off against Hu Ziniang," Zhi Ziaduo thought. "Among everyone here, only a few have resistance to his power of illusion and they must be the one to deal with him personally." After going through such a day and night, Zhi Ziaduo had also discovered that there were several people that Hu Ziniang did not dare to touch. The first was Kita. Because Kita was the Grey Wolf and couldn't be terrorized that way, Hu Ziniang could only let other people deal with him. Based on this, Zhi Ziaduo speculated that Zhou Wanyuan could probably counter him as well. If Chen Zhen came, he had the heart lamp, so he should be able to counter him as well. Among the people who could catch Hu Ziniang now, only Zhi Ziaduo, Kita, and Zhou Wanyuan were here. In addition, Xian Hezi, Chao Ben, and Duan Shixing would be in danger if they encountered the 9-tailed fox. A finger tapped on his shoulder, and Zhi Ziaduo was startled. He turned his head and saw Zhou Wanyuan, who was expressionless. "You scared me to death," Zhi Ziaduo said. "What are you guys doing?" Zhou Wanyuan asked tonelessly. Zhi Ziaduo looked at Zhou Wanyuan with his dragon pupil. He made sure it was her before he said, "Hu Ziniang is hiding here. Why is it that neither of you seem to have slept enough?" Zhou Wanyuan said, "Didn't you just run into a fox? Don't underestimate the enemy." Zhi Ziaduo asked, "Did you bring the thing?" Zhou Wanyuan opened her bag, and Zhi Ziaduo rummaged through it immediately and said, "Give it to me quickly." "That's great." Zhou Wanyuan took out a bundle of lynx bones and a roll of thin, translucent, tanned golden lynx skin, and asked, "Where is great immortal Xiang? This is the first time I haven't seen the two of you together." "He's running away," Zhi Ziaduo said. "If we get Hu Ziniang, then he'll be fine." Zhou Wanyuan gave Zhi Ziaduo a ring and said, "Master Duan helped find this lynx skin for you, and I collected the bones at the antique market. I just came here on the high-speed rail, and Kita told me to give you guys these rings. Why did Chao Dingding also come here? Do we need this many people to catch one fox?" Zhi Ziaduo put on the ring and said, "It's a 9-tailed celestial fox." Zhou Wanyuan was obviously not informed of the full situation. When she heard this, she immediately opened her mouth wide. "Shh." Zhi Ziaduo shook out the lynx skin, spread it in the snow, gestured with the bones, thought about it for a moment, and first bowed to the pile of materials, thinking, "Begging you guys for help." Then he began to make a magic weapon to break Hu Ziniang's magic. "This is the skin of an immortal lynx, so great." Zhi Ziaduo said, "Immortal lynx, please bless me." Xiang Cheng held the ring on the ring finger of his left hand between his right thumb and middle finger in silence. At 11 o'clock in the morning, there were more and more people outside. Today, outside the Qingming River Park, it seemed that many more people had come out to enjoy the snow. Xiang Cheng leaned his back against his hiding place and looked out. From the Qingming River Park to the banks of the Longting Lake, the people outside had formed a circle, each standing and talking. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 71. True Skills. The helicopter flew past, coming to a stop at the top of a tall tower. Chen Zhen climbed out of the helicopter, and Lin Yura followed behind him. "Old Buddha, be careful, the ground's slippery." Chen Zhen's mind was occupied with other matters. The people from the Duan family came over, protecting the two of them as they left the helicopter landing pad on the roof and headed down the elevator. "Is everything ready?" Lin Yura asked in the elevator. The several directors of the local exorcism department all nodded. According to the location tracker, a manager said, Xiang Cheng is hiding in Qingming River Park, and Zhi Ziaduo is on the lumber factory street. Chao Ben and Zhou Wanyuan are protecting him. Still dreaming about getting his revenge. "Tell them to bring Zhi Ziaduo back," Lin Yura said coldly. "They are not to participate in this any longer." Everyone nodded and split up to carry out their tasks. "Chen Zhen." Lin Yura called Chen Zhen to a stop as he was leaving. "I'm going to search for Zhi Ziaduo," Chen Zhen said. Lin Yura sucked in a deep breath, before saying in the end, "Go, but be careful of Jinghao." ******. What's this? Zhou Wanyuan said. Zhi Ziaduo pasted the lynx skin and bones into the shape of a tarp, and he gestured at Chao Ben. "In a bit, you two go inside and capture it," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Wanyuan Ji, you're not afraid of its power of illusion." "I'm afraid, okay." Zhou Wanyuan gritted out. "Who told you that I wasn't afraid?" Zhi Ziaduo said, "Kita said so." "Aren't you the white deer? Have a little bit of dignity." Zhou Wanyuan had no other choice, and she said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." "If you could," Zhi Ziaduo said. "Please help me hold him back." Chao Ben took a few steps back, before he dashed along the street to build up speed. He then leapt into the air, grabbed onto the windowsill on the second floor, and flipped himself up. He reached down and Zhi Ziaduo bent over. Zhou Wanyuan stepped onto Zhi Ziaduo's back and leapt upwards, grabbing Chao Ben's hand. Zhi Ziaduo suddenly felt a spiritual resonance from the ring. Xiang Cheng was currently hurrying this way. Xiang Cheng vaulted over the fencing around the Qingming River Park, and the exorcists outside were immediately on guard. They each sent out a signal, and some of them ran towards Xiang Cheng to stop him. Xiang Cheng kicked off the railings around the Longting Lake, stepping over the roof of the tent for the sightseeing tricycles, landing in the street outside. "Capture him," someone shouted. A car stopped on the street. Kita got off, and he peered off into the distance. *****. Old Buddha, a manager came back to report. Xiang Cheng is currently moving in the direction of Zhi Ziaduo. Lin Yura frowned. "Don't let him run out of the bounds of the blazing sun array, and make sure that you don't beat the bush and startle the snake." *****. Zhou Wanyuan made a hand gesture at Zhi Ziaduo down below. Chao Ben, using both his fists to protect himself, threw himself forward heroically, smashing his way into the offices on the third floor. Right after that, there came an angered bellow, and the entire wall along the third floor exploded outwards, knocking back both Zhou Wanyuan and Chao Ben through the air. What followed right after them was a huge pigyao. Zhi Ziaduo immediately ducked and ran into the stairway, heading up towards the third floor. The anti-theft door was locked, so Zhi Ziaduo crawled in from a window in the stairwell. His feet slipped, but he sped by quickly and entered the office on the third floor. "Take care of that pig," Zhou Wanyuan shouted to Chao Ben. Chao Ben had a solid foundation in martial arts, and at this moment, he turned into a black shadow that punched ferociously. The Pigyao let out a pained squeal as its tail was yanked, and it was spun around in a circle before being thrown heavily onto the snowy ground. Zhi Xiaoduo searched around in the messy office, only to see a shrine in the room. In it stood another totem that was exactly the same as the one they had obtained before. What exactly is this? Zhi Xiaoduo went forward, took the statue, and pulled the other one out from his backpack to compare them. Ah well, he'd keep searching. Sounds of battle came from outside, and Zhi Xiaoduo's heart thumped rapidly as he prayed, "Please be here, otherwise we would have come for nothing. Heavens, please bless us," but the room was very messy, and he even searched through the toilet tank without finding anything. There was an odd array on the dining table, and Zhi Xiaoduo took a look at it, searching through his mind for what this array would be used for. This was a Yao array that had been drawn in blood, and there were 2 exits for spiritual qi, but how were these exits supposed to be used? Zhi Xiaoduo held his breath and pulled out the 2 statues. The statues depicted a naked woman, with a snake coiled around her body. He placed the 2 statues on the 2 exits of the array, and the array began to glow with a weak light. Xiang Cheng sped along the roof, racing across the snow, running towards Zhi Xiaoduo's location. Ripples appeared from the array in front of Zhi Xiaoduo, hanging in the air, and within them appeared gleaming, snow-white, divine mountains. The scenery zoomed forward swiftly, revealing a large, black hall. Zhi Xiaoduo's hands controlled the 2 statues, and he moved them left and right, before he suddenly remembered when Dinghai had escaped last time. This was a transmission statue. When the 2 statues were apart, they could transfer yaoguai and objects between each other, but when they were placed together, they would create an array, through which the enemy's main base could be accessed. Zhi Xiaoduo turned the statues to study the surroundings. In a side hall of the sacred land, the transmission eye floating in the air looked left and right, before it found the central platform. Zhi Xiaoduo's heart was about to leap out of his throat. He pushed the totems forward, moving up the platform, where he saw 2 artifacts giving off black qi, the moon eclipse bow and the great sun ring. Zhi Xiaoduo pushed the totems, tilting them forward so that the water-rippled surface pressed down on the altar. The altar emerged from it, appearing in the seal some thousands of li distant. Zhi Xiaoduo stowed the artifacts away, wrapped up the totems, put them away in his bag, and turned. "Nicely done," Wang Lei chuckled. "As expected, I have not underestimated you. After all, you did get a full score on the multiple choice section." Zhi Xiaoduo. In the street, the 9-tailed fox and the white deer that Zhou Wanyuan had transformed and stared each other down. The 9-tailed fox was emitting tidal waves of intimidation, and the white deer held up against them with its antlers, trembling as it did so. The gray wolf and white deer, whose Yang's voice said, "I never thought that they would appear in this world at such a time. Go die!" Zhou Wanyuan shouted. The white deer charged towards the 9-tailed fox, and the 2 large spirit beasts collided. The white deer tucked its antlers under the 9-tailed fox's abdomen, but the 9-tailed fox turned to bite the white deer's leg. The 2 huge beasts tussled on the snowy ground, sending up flurries of snow. After Chao Ben took care of the Pigyao, he rolled up his sleeves and came charging over. The 9-tailed fox let out a thundering bellow, and it pushed aside the white deer, its eyes locking on Chao Ben. Chao Ben immediately froze where he was, his entire body trembling. Wang Lei held out his hands politely, saying, "Hand over all the items. Thank you for helping me get rid of that fox. Teacher Wang, your spy tendencies truly do go wherever you do, huh?" Zhi Xiaoduo said. Wang Lei smiled faintly. "You're very smart. Are you willing to go with Teacher Wang to the sacred land to cultivate? What's your heart, devil?" Zhi Xiaoduo narrowed his eyes, sensing that Xiang Cheng was getting closer and closer. "My guess is that Teacher Wang also has a part of his past that is unspeakable, which is why you ended up pledging allegiance to Mara, is that right?" "You've guessed wrong, Wang Lei replied mildly. My family had something to do with Mara from the start. It's just that in the human world, very few people know of that. I'll give you one last chance. In that very moment, Xiang Cheng raced towards him along the rooftops while Kita drove a Maserati along, following closely behind. The white deer and the nine-tailed fox were still fighting. Kita gritted his teeth, and he turned the steering wheel. The sports car skidded and slammed into the wall, sending him flying out. The gray wolf howled at the sky as it charged in from the side to assist the white deer. It bit down firmly on the nine-tailed fox. The sudden appearance of the true forms of three large beasts caused all of the dilapidated houses near the lumber factory to collapse. Xiang Cheng leapt into the air, flying towards the exposed third-floor rooms. Zhi Xiaoduo was facing down against Wang Lei, while Wang Lei had his back to Xiang Cheng. Wang Lei's pupils suddenly contracted as he saw Xiang Cheng's figure swiftly growing larger and larger in Zhi Xiaoduo's eyes. Xiang Cheng's leg shot forward in a kick, and Zhi Xiaoduo hugged his head and dropped to the floor. Wang Lei leapt aside, turned rapidly to dodge Xiang Cheng's leg. Xiang Cheng's fists and feet shot out, and Wang Lei was struck by one of his punches, which sent him under the dining table. Right after, the boss snake in Xiang Cheng's body took form, slithering across the center of the room. Zhi Xiaoduo yelled loudly, and Wang Lei grabbed his collar, chopping one hand down on the back of his neck. He grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo and leapt out of the window behind him. Xiang Cheng called the boss snake back, rage and resentment billowing off him. He raced out of the third floor in hot pursuit. At the same time, the nine-tailed fox struggled mightily, finally shaking off Kita and Zhou Wanyuan. It raced towards the end of the street. The nine-tailed fox and Wang Lei ran towards Longting Lake from opposite directions. Xiang Cheng raced after Wang Lei, shouting, "Put him down." But Wang Lei simply chuckled coldly, and as he dragged along the unconscious Zhi Xiaoduo, he put his sword to Zhi Xiaoduo's throat, and pressed down. Zhi Xiaoduo woke from the pain, and he let out a loud shout as fresh blood began to seep down his throat. Wang Lei said, "If I were to kill him right now, wouldn't the sacred seed in you?" Xiang Cheng's pupils swiftly contracted, and his entire body trembled uncontrollably, black flames suddenly appearing and filling the sky. Before Wang Lei could finish, Tu Tang Dao came sweeping forward, and Xian Hezi showed himself. The first one knocked Wang Lei's sword aside with a tink, while the second sliced down towards his wrist. The hand that Wang Lei was holding Zhi Xiaoduo with went flying, and Zhi Xiaoduo fell from the rooftop. Mission complete. Xian Hezi grabbed Zhi Xiaoduo's hand, pointing the blade in his right hand at Xiang Cheng. Before he could finish speaking, a huge snake that had formed from a black ball of qi charged towards him, not giving him a chance to speak as it enveloped him in black qi. Fresh blood spewed out of Xian Hezi's mouth, and the momentum of the impact pushed him to the ground. The huge snake rolled, and countless houses were crushed under its body as it slithered across the entire road. Everyone watched the scene dumbly. Due north, a huge, white, 3-story tall nine-tailed fox charged towards the Longting Lake, a huge wolf and deer chasing after it. And to the northeastern side, another ball of black qi seemed to have taken on a snake-like form, and it collapsed houses under it as it slithered towards the center of the city. Thousands of people unconsciously pulled out their phones to take pictures, but 4 signal jamming vehicles arrived, blocking the way forward around them. "Damn!" Chen Zhen said. "Hurry up and think of a way. Where are the people from the Field Support Division?" Chen Zhen rushed towards Longting Lake. The banks of the lake, at this moment, were in complete chaos. Someone shouted, "They've already cleaned up. Prepare the array." Chen Zhen shouted. The boss snake came towards them in a billow of black qi. The nine-tailed fox leapt down towards the center of the Longting Lake, taking human form in the blink of an eye, before he began to laugh uproariously. Miss Yurei Ziniang's voice was a little mocking. "What do you think of my new pet?" Lin Yurei stood in the distance, and she let out a cold hum. She took the communicator and ordered, "Chen Zhen, prepare the array." Xian Hezi plummeted through the air, crashing into the ground. Chi Xiaoduo's head spun as he was spat up by the corrupted boss snake, but just as the boss snake was about to turn and take care of the rest of the people there, Chi Xiaoduo shouted, "Xiang Cheng." As if the boss snake had sensed something, it turned its head swiftly. In that instant, Chi Xiaoduo's voice and the scene in Xiang Cheng's head overlapped with each other. Xiang Cheng. In the dark forest, the boss snake lowered its head, watching Yaoji. "Xiang Cheng." Chi Xiaoduo roared. Chen Zhen lifted his arm, blocking the exorcists who were running towards the boss snake and Chi Xiaoduo. Chi Xiaoduo stared fixedly at the corrupted boss snake. Black chi came from its body, and it blearily squeezed its eyes shut, then opened them, doing its best to identify Chi Xiaoduo. From inside his bag, Chi Xiaoduo pulled out the Great Sun Ring and Moon Eclipse Bow, both of which were also emitting black chi, and handed them to the boss snake. "I helped you find them," Chi Xiaoduo said, lifting his head. His eyes were red. "They're yours. Let's go, ba." Xiang Cheng. As if a ray of bright light blasted through the endless darkness, as if an explosion, flashing with lightning and blazing flames, had shot straight through his soul, Chen Zhen held up the heart lamp in his hand, trembling. The black chi began to dissipate from the area over the boss snake's heart, and the scales of the tangible boss snake in the air fell off, breaking apart and floating away on the wind. Xiang Cheng appeared. Chi Xiaoduo ran towards Xiang Cheng. The nine-tailed fox, however, chuckled coldly. "You think you're done with just that? You'll be getting off too easily that way." In the blink of an eye, the nine-tailed fox suddenly sent out a burst and broke out into wild laughter. Countless threads of air shot in all directions as Xiang Cheng rushed towards Chi Xiaoduo, hugging him and pulling him behind a tree. All of the exorcist's eyes went blank, and the entire world seemed to be shrouded in a veil of grey. Near the exorcists hiding outside of the Kaifeng Manor and the Longting Lake, who formed the second line of defense, countless Yaoguai charged out of their hiding spots, racing towards the center of the lake. "Chen Zhen." Lin Yura immediately called. "Watch out for its illusory powers of the heavenly fox. There are Yaoguai surrounding you." Chen Zhen ignited the heart lamp, but a cold chuckle came from behind him. "Director Chen," Dinghai said, "it's time for us to settle our debts." Chen Zhen immediately turned. Dinghai's hand came slicing down, and Chen Zhen, with the heart lamp in his left hand, shook the bracelet around his right wrist. He leapt into the air, and as he flew through the air, the silver light of flying swords flashed around him. "Fool!" Dinghai roared. The Daodi charged towards Chen Zhen, and the heart lamp went flying, landing in the Longting Lake. "Don't mind us, prepare." Chen Zhen's voice cut out. A strong light began to glow in the middle of the space between the Qingming River Park, the Kaifeng Manor, and the Tita Park. The clouds on the horizon parted, and a golden talisman was glittering faintly in the clouds. However, wherever the Fox Yao's bewitchment went, all of the exorcists who were casting the spell found it hard to move. Even Kita and Zhou Wanyuan stopped in their tracks. Everyone's resentment and hatred were being forced to the surface, echoing through their minds. Xiang Cheng held Chi Xiaoduo as they ducked behind a tree. Black chi was still coming faintly from Xiang Cheng's heart, and he gasped for air as he shook his head violently, watching Chi Xiaoduo. Chi Xiaoduo wrapped his arms around his neck, pressing a kiss to his lips. "Hurry and go," Chi Xiaoduo said. "Take this. I'll help you stop them, otherwise the exorcism committee will undoubtedly capture you." Chi Xiaoduo slung the bag over Xiang Cheng's neck. Inside were his artifacts. I go," Chi Xiaoduo said. "They already know that there is a seed of Mara in your body, and they won't let you go." Xiang Cheng watched Chi Xiaoduo dazedly. Chi Xiaoduo's outline was once again overlapping with Yao Ji's. "Go." Zhi Xiaoduo moved forward once more and kissed him again. Don't be afraid. Once you figure out how to deal with the Yao Hun, come back and find me. You. Xiaoduo, I cannot leave you. Sorry, Xiang Cheng's eyes were red. My heart is being torn into pieces. I'm sorry, Xiaoduo, I wanted to get the artifacts and then come back to take you away with me. I knew that you'd definitely come back, Zhi Xiaoduo said. It's alright, look after yourself. Xiang Cheng. Go. Zhi Xiaoduo pushed and shoved at Xiang Cheng. If you don't go, when they use the array to deal with the Yao in a bit, you'll be hurt as well. Xiang Cheng and Zhi Xiaoduo's gazes met for a moment, and they both breathed calmly. Xiang Cheng lowered his head, pressed a kiss to Zhi Xiaoduo's lips, and said, I'll be back very soon. With that, he picked up the bag and charged out. Hu Ziniang hovered in the air above the Longting Lake. Zhi Xiaoduo rushed out of the trees, meeting Hu Ziniang's gaze from far away. Hu Ziniang laughed coldly. Foolish human, is there some other array you're thinking of using? Back in the day, when Yao Ji tried to escape from the sacred land and run away with her son, she even managed to plot against me with reinforcement and lost her life in the process. If I hadn't been bitten by those venomous fangs. So now, you're here to take their lives in return? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. What a pity that no matter how much you plan for, there will always be something you miss. The world seemed to come to a stop, and resentment gathered up all at once. The Fox Yao's powers of bewitchment were at their maximum, and only Zhi Xiaoduo was able to remain unmoved under this rush of bewitchment. His dragon pupil glowed with a green light. Right after that, he lifted his left hand, which held a hand drum made from the skin of a lynx. He brought his right palm down against the drum face, which was covered in written incantations. With a crisp do, a huge, glowing lynx rose from the ground and let out a long howl at the sky. With another thud, the resentment around Zhi Xiaoduo immediately dissipated. Hu Ziniang's pupils contracted, and his body began to tremble against his own will. Zhi Xiaoduo brought his palm down heavily against the drum, and the third thud spread like a wave, undoing the bewitchment on all of the controlled exorcists. I'll kill you first. Hu Ziniang bellowed. Black chi burst out from the nine-tailed fox as it charged towards Zhi Xiaoduo on the river bank. Zhi Xiaoduo, however, did not dodge nor move aside, instead facing down Hu Ziniang as he smacked the drum again. Hu Ziniang let out a piteous wail, and one of its huge claws shot forth from the black chi, snagging Zhi Xiaoduo, dragging him out over the surface of the lake. On the other side of the Longting Lake, the grey wolf and white deer came rushing from behind, sending the dowdy flying. Now! Chen Zhen shouted, before he lifted the heart lamp. The dark clouds in the sky split open, revealing the blazing sun. The light of the blazing sun shot down in powerful rays from the sky, one of which struck Hu Ziniang in the midst of the black chi. The black chi dissipated, and Hu Ziniang and Zhi Xiaoduo reappeared in their human forms. You've lost. Zhi Xiaoduo dodged Hu Ziniang's fingers reaching for his left eye, instead grabbing him forcefully around the throat. The black chi wrapped around the two of them and held them up high above the lake. Zhi Xiaoduo turned him over viciously, forcing Hu Ziniang's back to face the strong light that was shining down. Hu Ziniang's face was beginning to melt. You will never be able to get what you want. Green light shot out of his dragon pupil, setting Hu Ziniang's face, which had been turning into a fox's, aflame. Hu Ziniang let out a death wail, and bright light burst forth from his body, before a white fox appeared. The white fox then wailed horrifically, its fur burning to nothing under this blazing flame, revealing a frightening skeleton underneath. Finally, even the bones began to catch fire under the blazing sunlight array. As soon as Zhi Xiaoduo's dragon pupil saw the green light, he let out a pained shout and turned his head away. When Hu Ziniang died, Zhi Xiaoduo went plummeting downwards, falling right into the choppy waters of the Longting Lake with a thud. Right after that, Chen Zhen rushed towards the Longting Lake and leapt into the waters. The icy cold burrowed into his bones, and the instant that Zhi Ziyaduo hit the water, he lost consciousness. A huge green snake swam through the icy waters, coiling around him, before dragging him upwards. Chen Zhen floated in the water, pressing his hand down over his heart as his body curled up in pain. The ba snake's body curled, and it picked up both Chen Zhen and Zhi Ziyaduo as it swam to the bank, dragging them up with it. Xiang Cheng came up out of the water and sucked in a deep breath. Caught him. The exorcist swarmed forward, using talismans to handcuff his hands together, before confiscating Xiang Cheng's bag and weapon. Zhi Ziyaduo was so cold that his face was as white as a sheet of paper and his lips were purple. He felt that someone had wrapped him in a woolen blanket. Their voices faded in and out, accompanied by Kita and Zhou Wanyuan's anxious shouts. He reached out a hand and moved it a little, only to touch Chao Bin's fingers. Before he lost consciousness again, the last thing Zhi Ziyaduo remembered was Xiang Cheng's face. End chapter.